Welcome everyone to Health Coach TV. I'm Dr. Shaunna Menard and I am here with our very special guest all the way from Italy, Sofia Ochoa, and we are going to dive right into this. Let me just bring her on board. Hi Sofia, how are you?
Hi, I'm fine, thank you. Grateful to be here. I'm very happy.
Excellent. So let's dive right into this. And so if you are listening right now and if you are someone who have ever dealt with yo-yo dieting, or maybe you have allowed the number on the scale to dictate your mood and whether you are going to be happy that day or disappointed that day, or maybe you have struggled with emotional eating, you are going to want to tune in here today because our special guest is an expert in this field of helping people find their emotional and food freedom and having that healed relationship with their body. So let me give you a proper introduction, Sofia. So Sofia is originally from Mexico and she's been living in Italy for almost 18 years. She studied art, sculpture, painting, and interior design in New York and Mexico. She became an interior designer. And then she worked for over 8 years designing spas and wellness centers. And then she continued this voyage into wellness, studying mindfulness, personal development, completing a master's training in plant-based chef in Mexico, and training in neuroeducation in Italy. Her journey led her to study at the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, and she became a certified holistic health coach. Specifically, she helps women who are trapped in this yo-yo of emotions and weight to finally break free and find their stable and sustainable weight and emotions. And I think, you know, in Italy right now, that what we observed during the 2020 pandemic is especially people going through that time of heightened emotions, and when they were locked down with their own food supply, it became even more apparent. It just sort of heightened how big of a problem this was. It's always been a problem, but it became even more apparent. So welcome, Sofia. Thank you for being here with us and sharing your amazing experience. So tell us, you know, what it is that you do now.
So now I help women who have struggled with their body and their food to finally find their ideal weight and without dieting, and feel good about their body and find emotional and food freedom.
I love that. I love that. And so what was it that had you get into this line of work? Like, tell us a little bit of your story. Like, how did this happen?
So food has always been a huge part in my life. Like, I remember doing my first dessert at 4, like on my own. And I love to cook, and I also did it as a business when I was very young to sell to my relatives and my friends. So it really on my teens when I started to have a conflict with my food. So I did all kinds of diets that led to eating disorders and to nutritionists and therapy, and just a struggle that lasted for over 10 years. So by accident, but you know, nothing happens for an accident. I found a clinic who helped young girls deal with eating disorders. So for me, that was a peak time in my life. I started a new relationship with my body, with my food, but even though I didn't really have a fight with my food anymore. Knowing what to eat or what to really do was very confusing because there's so many rules or points of view out there. Mm-hmm. So it was until some years ago I found a way of eating delicious, healthy, whole, and nutritious food. And that led me to a wonderful journey of research and learning new ways of cooking and eating healthy, delicious food. And ultimately, it led me to a health coach.
Oh, I love that. And I love you starting off at 4 years old with, of course you love the sweets and the things, and then sell cakes and cookies to your family. And in a sense, that relationship was with food, that innocent little playful relationship was much healthier. And then when it becomes forbidden, because better not do that, or you're going to get fat, better not eat that, and then afraid of those foods that you like, and then it's like, but what is good and what is not good, and it gets all very confusing very quickly, and then you start to hate your body for not looking away, or hate yourself for wanting to eat this and it gets messed up. So I think a lot of women struggle with that, and they might not even realize it's a problem, because so many women struggle with that. It becomes like normal. And I keep saying women because I think women struggle with this more than men. Well, statistically, that is actually true, with their body image and with food in particular. You know, I've sometimes have jokingly said, next life, I'm coming back as a man so I can eat what I want. And it's like, because right now, it's like, well, my sons and my husband can eat whatever they want and they'll stay slim. But me, I can't really look at some of those foods. And at least that was my feeling, and it starts to get ingrained in us. So tell us a little bit more about your story and how this relationship with food got dysfunctional. I mean, we all have our own version of it, but how did that happen for you?
So it was when I was in my teens. I did all the diets that were available at the time, and I also invented my own. And I wasn't really overweight. I just didn't like the way I looked. So I started dieting, and then that led to dieting again, because, diets take you up and down. And then that led to eating problems, and just I became obsessed. I really, the fact of doing all kinds of, this one didn't work, and now I'm gonna do another one, and okay, this one didn't work, now I'm waiting this, and now I'm fat, I'm thin. So it really became an obsession. And with that, obviously, became binge eating, overweight, anorexic, bulimic, everything. I went through all of that. And with that, the weight and my emotions were just like a roller coaster. And it was until my little sister, she was 9 then, Monica, and she told me, okay, now you're on a diet, you're losing weight because your boyfriend from out of town is coming, and then he's gonna go away, and you're gonna gain your weight back, and then he's gonna come back, and then you're gonna be thin again, and then he's gonna go away, and you're gonna gain the weight. And I was like, oh my God, my little sister is putting the truth on my face. And I was like, this is not living. That's it. That was it for me. I couldn't live slave of my food and my body my whole life. It wasn't really living. So I looked for help. I actually looked for a diet to solve this problem. And I found out that it's not about a diet. And it's not about a diet. It's not about a problem. Like I'm not the problem, but I have the solution on my hands. I can do something for it. So, but the greatest thing I found in this whole situation was when I went to this clinic, and I was talking with the other girls, and just seeing that they were going through the same things I was going, the same feelings, the same actions. We were talking in the kitchen about how we binge eat, and how we go to the store and buy all this junk food, obviously, and then just take all in without any conscious of eating, and then throw, before we get home, all the garbage to the trash can before we go into our house or wherever we were. So just this thing of not feeling an alien, I felt in some way normal. Because before I thought there wasn't a solution, that I was just a waste of life or something, no? And just seeing that there were many girls just doing the exact same things, feeling the exact same way. It was just so liberating and just comforting, and it was really helpful for my change. Just knowing that there's someone there to have your back, it's liberating, and just my change, my way to change started right there. Like just the fact of opening up and not feeling strange to the world.
Yeah, I love that. And I think a lot of people, I remember listening to another coach talking about her struggles, and she kept saying, like, over and over to herself, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? And then one day she realized there's not actually anything wrong with me. I just have to shift some things around and looking at it from a different perspective. So yeah, I love that. So getting on the other side of this now, and like you're beautiful, you're the picture of health, you have what people want, you have this healed relationship, and sort of being on the other side of it now, and going through this journey and seeing how the support was so helpful in your journey. Is that why you decided to become a holistic health coach?
Absolutely, absolutely. Just the fact that I could heal my relationship with my body, that I could listen to it. I found that there was a way, like I found the solution, so other people can solve their problem too. And just the fact of helping people, women, with what they're struggling, that is the same thing I went through, and make it showing them the way, and in a shorter amount of time. And just it just lights my heart, really, because I would have loved to have someone like me when I was in her shoes. So
Yeah.
just really sharing and giving back what I've learned with my struggle and alleviating that, it's amazing. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, and I feel the same way as I help health coaches and get their messages out there. What took me like 10 years, and what took you 10 years to get to the other side of, now we can help people get there like in a few months, you know, and it's very rewarding because a lot of that struggle and suffering was completely unnecessary. And so it's great. And now with the wonders of modern technology, even if it doesn't always cooperate, we have an opportunity to get like let people know, hey, there is help out there. There is a way for you to heal and to be on the other side of it. It's possible. You're not broken. You can do that. So how is it that you work with your clients, Sofia? Like how does that work?
So I just wanted to add something before the question. Is that now I really like food. Like I really enjoy food. Like I enjoyed when I was 4. I'm in a good relationship with my body. I listen to it, and it's like a relationship, really. It's like, how am I feeling today? What do I need? If I overeat some 2 or 3 days or a week in Christmas time or something, it doesn't matter. I can go back on my feet and keep with my life, and not just this energy and this obsession suck my life out. And so the fact that I really enjoy and I listen my body, I really, it's an amazing thing. I would have never imagined that on my struggle days, that I can live without that.
Yeah, I love that. So how do you work with clients now? How does that work?
So most of my clients are women who have been trapped in a jojo of emotions and their weight. So they can finally break free from their from that and find a sustainable and stable weight, and their emotions also to be stable. Absolutely. And so I walk them step by step through a program from struggle to freedom. And I work with them very closely and we mostly work virtually because it's easier and it's more global also, because I also speak Spanish and Italian, so I can help much more people this way. And there's plenty of accountability and support. I'm there with them all the way, showing them the steps to follow so they can go through to the other side, finding the solution. So it's actually, the important thing is that we get results.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. That is the most important thing. So, what do you think is the biggest myth that people have when it comes to that relationship between their food and their body and this whole topic? What are some of the biggest myths that you feel people have?
Well, one is that I would say two, because one is that a person who thinks only on their weight and their looks is a shallow person, a shallow and superficial person, and she's not actually. It's totally actually the opposite. And the second one is that why isn't she happy? She has everything to be happy. It could be worse. Why isn't she grateful? So that probably is true, but it's not helpful for that person from her perspective. So coming back to the fact that that person is superficial, it's not really superficial. It's just the fact that she doesn't know how to manifest her emotions. So the way she deals with her emotions are hiding with food and with her appearance, because she doesn't really know how to do otherwise. Like food is by nature, it's it's very comforting, and it's available for all of us everywhere. And so they're going through something that they don't really have control, or they think they don't have the control, or they're overwhelmed or struggling. So they go to food and their body because they think they can't control that.
Right.
And by doing that, they don't really have control over that, because as I say, like, since we are little, most of us are not taught how to deal with our emotions, especially the negative emotions. They're always like, don't worry, you don't say that. So whenever they become big, your emotions get heavier and heavier on your back, and you don't really know where to leave them so you can keep on going. So many of these women and many of us rely on food because, as I said, it's right there. So it's comforting and it's right there, and we don't really know how to manage our emotions, but we know how to get to the kitchen and to the store and everything.
Yeah, and something that's different about food, it's like with smoking, you can just quit cold turkey, or even with alcohol, you could just quit cold turkey and not have any, but you can't quit food. You still have to eat every day. All of us every day have to eat. So it is a problem that isn't just going to ever just go away. Like, if it's a problem, then it really needs to be gotten on the other side of this. So it makes it extra challenging, I would say. So why do you think it's so important to focus on this emotional side of eating?
Well, but because when we understand what we are feeling, why we are eating, and when we resolve all the whys, we can move to the hows and how to solve things, no? And most of the people really don't know, but they have a bad relationship with food. It is said that 3/4 of the population had a bad relationship with food. And that's not only like anorexic or bulimic problems, but also the fact that you're too stressed and too much work and you don't eat, or you're I don't know, you have eating disorders in a way that you eat whenever you find time, or you keep eating, or you overeat, or you don't eat at all. So there are many ways of having or if you're happy or if you're sad. It doesn't have to be on the extremes, but we have in more or less measure an eating a bad relationship with the food, because
Right.
it's not prohibited, as you said. It's everywhere. It's anytime it's available. So it's easier to relate with that, to cover our emotion. And as you said at the beginning, now with the quarantine, it's easier with all the emotions that are coming out, and we are very near to the fridge, and everyone has their own emotions. So it's very easy to go and comfort with food.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So what are some, so people know it's a problem. They can realize that for sure at least 75% of people, like everybody's had a bad day, an exam or a test that didn't go well, or there was a breakup and then they ended up in a pint of ice cream or something like that. So everybody's had sort of, can
Yeah.
relate to that experience. And so they get that it's not good, and they get that it's a problem that needs to be dealt with for sure, because it can be out of control. What are some tips that you have for, oh, go ahead. You want to?
Yes, I wanted to add something. And for example, like many people say, I don't want to change my eating habits because I don't want to lose the freedom of eating.
Mm.
But a great example is when you find yourself in front of ice cream or a hamburger or a donut or whatever is in front of you, are you really free of not eating that? So asking yourself, my freedom relies on the fact that I can eat whatever I want, or on the fact that I can decide not to have that? Because that is real freedom, when you can decide not to have that. So this struggle takes a lot of energy out of us, and solving this problem can give us energy, confidence, and really do what you want and express yourself, and have courage to express yourself, and not hiding under a mask, under an image that you are not really. And that's the real struggle, like you're not really coming out.
Yeah, I think that's really, I'm glad you added that in there. I think people can relate to feeling fat and not going out, not going to the party, not going to see some friends, not meeting up with family at an event because they don't feel good enough, and then beating themselves up for that. And it starts to influence their life and what they're able to do. And when that's the case, and not finding clothes to wear so they don't do things, it's starting to really impact that, and it's got them hostage, and they're not able to have that freedom to live their life, and but they don't know necessarily how to get on the other side of that. I think that is.
No, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, that I have already lived the quarantine. On my worst days, I was in my house the whole time. I didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, years ago, right? Years ago,
Yeah.
decades ago. And
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And I think people can relate, and they don't want to. Sometimes they want to stay home, but sometimes they don't want to. Sometimes they would like to have the freedom to choose and go to some place or meet somebody because they really wanted to meet them, and not have all this mess of this emotions and food and their body all wrapped up into like this dysfunctional knot. So what are some tips that you could share, Sofia, with some easy like starting tips that you could share with people that are finding themselves trapped in this knot and like, yes, well, this is the problem, but how do I get out of it? So what are some things that you could share with them?
Well, one important thing is to start observing your emotions while you eat. So start asking yourself, how am I feeling? Am I really hungry? Am I bored? So start journaling. Have a little notebook or on your phone. No, your phone, no, because that's another thing I'm gonna tell you about. But
Okay.
have a journal nearby, and you don't have to write long things. Just your emotion and the thing you're eating. Like, I'm having ice cream, I'm feeling sad. I'm having a hamburger, I'm happy. Even if you're happy, it's all good. They're not bad emotions or good emotions. It's all their emotions. We are humans, so it's all permitted.
Yeah, so just observing it is the first step. Just observing, noticing when you eat certain things and when you eat and when you don't eat, just noticing that and observing it is the first step. I think that's really, and I think it's bringing what you teach is that mindfulness. It's starting to slow it down. So if you have to pause, you're becoming more aware of what's going on and you're not mindlessly going through things. So I love that.
Yes, because there's a disconnection actually with, like I used to see myself, and that is like that. It's a disconnection with the body and the mind. Like if there are two different people many times when it's an extreme problem, no? And so it's like just coming back that you're still the same person, and it's your body, and you have you can choose how to manage it.
Excellent. I love that. Okay, what's another tip for people?
To ask yourself if you're really thirsty, because many times we are just thirsty, and just by drinking a glass of water, it just can be just soothing and calming, and and at least it will make you feel fuller. So if you end up eating, you won't eat that much, but also your brain is mostly water, so it will make you think better, and you will feel better just at the start of the feeling.
And if you ever notice, like maybe it's more in a movie or something, but if somebody's had something traumatic and like somebody's trying to console them, it's like, here, have some water.
Yes.
Like, and it does help. It
Yes.
does help. Like, I know that if you're like crazy, it slows you down. And if you've ever lost weight, I know that one of the and I've helped people lose weight. One of the key things was starting with water. And so it dilutes out the toxins. It's a natural anti-ager. It flushes out what's not needed to be there. It plumps up and hydrates your skin. It's just a great thing to do anyways. And you feel cleaner and leaner and clearer. So yeah, excellent, simple, easy to do. Like we can all just do that, but excellent. Okay, what other tips do you have?
So as I was saying, mindful eating, being very mindful while you eat, like not having any distractions, any phones, tablets, or TV on, or even nearby, and just focusing on your food. First of all, chewing your food as much as you can, because that chewing will send a message to your body, to your brain, and it will tell it that you're already eating. So you will feel fuller faster than if you swallow things, because the message won't arrive until you start your digestion. So you will eat much more. And also the fact of focusing on your food, if you're eating with others or alone, is really an interesting experiment to do, because just watching your food, the colors, the textures, the forms, and then it's like wine, no? It's like watching it, appreciating it, and then on your mouth, feeling it. Just put the bite on your mouth and leave the fork. Mm-hmm. That's a huge thing. Leave the fork and then chew your food and feel the textures and the flavors. So we are really using the comfort of food in this way, and not to comfort our emotions, but the comfort of food will really make us happier and more relaxed while we eat, and also will improve our digestion later. And so we will feel overall better, and we'll be eating less also. So
I think that's an excellent tip. And especially now when people are so distracted by devices and technology. And I notice, like, I can be at my desk all day and I will be eating while mainly drinking like protein shakes or something while I am working. And I'll get to the end of my day and it feels like I haven't eaten anything, and I'll be starving, and I have had zero satisfaction from my food, and it's not healthy. And I remember also working at the hospital, and I would always get this same big salad. They had a huge salad bar, and I would always get the same salad pretty much all the time, and it fit in this container. So it was always exactly the same. And it was really good. I had this great grapefruit vinaigrette dressing. It was my favorite. And I had it at lunch, but I always ate it at my desk, and I was always doing work. So I'd go down to the hospital cafeteria and I'd bring it back up, and I would be working through lunch. And it was a big salad. And then one day I had an event in the evening, and I had it for dinner. I thought, oh, I love that salad. I'll just have that. And I wasn't going to go home first. So I will just eat it in the hospital cafeteria. And it was just looking out, over the view through the windows there. And I ate it by myself. So there wasn't even any conversation that was distracting me. I ate it by myself at dinner time. And, the same salad, and this was before we carried our cell phones with us. That's how old I am. But no distractions. I could not finish it. There was no way I could eat that amount. I got so full, and I'm like, it was about half that. And it was such a good example of what you're saying and I really think that our cells, we nourish our body, our cells, through the food we eat. And part of it is like the minerals and the vitamins and the protein and the carbs and the fats that nourish our cells. But part of it is that satisfaction of the food. One other quick example, when I was at an event with Deepak Chopra, and I remember over the course of 5 days looking 10 years younger. If my belly vanished, and I felt so good, and I had chocolate cake at lunch for dessert, but there was zero distractions, and it was mindful eating, and it was nourishing food. It was all Ayurvedic, and it satisfied the senses, but it was just absolutely delicious. And it was just taking that time to savor the food, sitting down at a lunch, sitting down at a breakfast, sitting down at a dinner, and allowing it to digest. Plus, we were doing meditation and yoga for the rest of the day and not much else. And it was amazing. And so it's exactly what you're talking about. So I think you have one more tip. Carry on.
Yes, this is a very interesting one. It's just to notice and journal also, if you want. It helps. Things that comfort you besides food, because when we're just thinking that because food is, like, as we said, necessary and always there, but we forget that we have a book to read, a friend to call, when we are feeling bad. Obviously we do those things other times, but when we are feeling bad, there are things that comfort us. So have this list on hand and write, I don't know, when I'm sad, if I take a nap, it will be better afterwards, or listen to music, or go for a walk, or call a friend. Or really, there are many things that we forget when we are anxious or nervous, and the first thing is food. So rely on other things that comfort you.
Yeah, I think that's so smart, Sophia. And to make a list ahead of time, because you forget, because in the moment, your default might be to go to get the ice cream, but or wine or whatever, but if you have a list that's handy of, it's like, oh yeah, this also feels good. Walking the dog or petting the dog, it also feels good, or doing a puzzle also feels good. So that's excellent tips. These are really great. And it's something that all of us can do, like today. Like, we can all start with that. I know you have a ton more, but it ripples through and affects all of our lives. So what are some of the spin-off benefits that you've seen, as people go through some of these things? What are some other benefits that they have when they get this relationship with their food and their emotions and their body all lined up?
The satisfaction that they get from doing little things, but that they build on top of each other, and then they see the results. They see the results by their effort of doing little changes in their life, and that makes them very confident. And with that confidence, they get back that power, and they realize that they're in charge of their life, that they can really make a change in their life. And that's very empowering for them. And it's amazing to see the change they do just in a short amount of time. And obviously that grows with time. And also when I see them gaining that confidence back, I see they start shining, and then they get their energy back, and that's when they start really living.
Yes,
Uh,
I love it.
they start doing what they want.
I love it. I love it. So this has been absolutely fantastic, Sofia. I am so glad we were able to have this interview here and for you to share your areas of expertise. I know we've barely scratched the surface on what you're able to help people with. If people are wanting more support, or if they have questions for you, I know that you have a way that you support people for free, which is fantastic. You have a super generous, huge, generous heart. And I know that you're looking always at great ways to help people. What's the best way for people to access you and some of the resources that you have?
Okay, so they can contact me on a Facebook group called Healthier/Stronger. No, I'm just going backwards. Okay, it's a Stronger/Healthier. Sorry about that. And then if they private message me or just send me a message telling me, and I can offer them a starter kit about emotional and food freedom, where they can have more tips and a breathing session, and also they can access to my calendar and book a free consultation with me to discuss the answers of a quiz I also added there.
Excellent. So
that's whatever questions they want, or to
yes. Well, the easiest, I think, is so go, if you are on Facebook, go to Stronger-Healthier. There'll be a Facebook group there. And Sofia is on Facebook as Sofia and then O-M, capital O, capital M. So you can check her out there as well. And I will put a link with this to accompany the videos. And also in that Facebook group, I understand you're going to be letting people know how they can access that starter kit, so that you can get started right away with some of these tips and access some of the amazing support that Sofia has. Well, I just want to thank you, Sofia, from all the way from Italy, all the way over here to Canada. It's so great to bridge this global gap, and we really are so much all alike than we are different. And so keep shining your light. You are absolutely beautiful. You're absolutely such a blessing to the many people that you serve. And I just want to thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been a real pleasure, really. Thank you for this opportunity. Thanks.
Awesome. And to all of you, thank you for tuning in. This and more episodes will be at healthcoach-tv.com. And tune in next week when we will have another exciting guest. And of course, as always, be good for you.